Hi everybody, so we are back with the next section of The Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe, which you might know of course as Narnia. So we are back in the world of Narnia. We started when we found the four children. Lucy, they'd gone to the professor's house and she went into the wardrobe in hide and seek and scrambled through the back, through the fur coats, and then came out into the forest. And then she met Mr. Tumnus, who we all know and love, the fawn. So you might have drawn a picture of Mr. Tumnus. So she had just said goodbye to Mr. Tumnus. Mr. Tumnus had just confessed that he was going to get into trouble with the White Witch because he was supposed to turn her over. And she said, "Oh, you won't, will you?" And he said, "No, I won't." And she was going, she just left him, and he said, "Perhaps I may keep the handkerchief." "Of course, goodbye," called Lucy, running toward the wardrobe door. Soon, instead of rough branches brushing past her, she felt soft coats, and all at once she was stepping out into the empty spare room. Lucy ran into the hall where Peter, Susan and Edmund were still standing. "I'm here," she shouted. "I've come back. I'm all right." "What are you talking about, Lucy?" said Susan, for to them no time had passed at all. "Here comes Shane. He's back for the story." Lucy told them excitedly that the wardrobe was a magic one. "There's a wood inside it, and it's snowing, and there's a fawn and a witch. It's called Narnia. Come and see." The others did not know what to think and followed her back into the room. But when Susan pulled the fur coats apart, all they saw was the back of the wood with hooks on it. Peter rapped his knuckles on it to make sure that it was solid. Rapped is when you do this. So you knocking. Yeah, thanks, Gigi. Poor Lucy couldn't understand it at all, and the others simply thought she was making it all up. The next wet day, the children decided to play hide and seek. Lucy went at once to the wardrobe. She wanted to have one more look inside it, for she was beginning to wonder whether the Narnia hadn't been a dream. Meanwhile, Edmund, who could be quite spiteful, secretly followed Lucy to tease her about her imaginary country. He came into the room just in time to see her vanishing inside the wardrobe. Jumping in after her, Edmund closed the door behind him, forgetting what a silly thing this is to do. To his astonishment, he found himself in the middle of a snowy wood. Lucy was nowhere to be seen, and everything was perfectly still, as if he were the only living creature around. Then Edmund heard a sound of bells. It came nearer and nearer. Moments later, a sledge swept into sight, driven by a fat dwarf. Behind him sat a great lady covered in a white fur up to her throat. She held a long, straight golden wand in her hand and wore a golden crown. Her face was white like snow, beautiful and proud. Here she is, and here is Edmund, and here is Shane. "Stop!" ordered the lady. "And what, pray, are you?" she asked, looking hard at Edmund. Sorry, it's not. Shane, hang on.
Shane boy, come here.
We're doing really well here. Well done.
Good boy.
Good boy. My name's Edmund," he replied. The lady frowned. "Is that how you address a queen?" she asked sternly. "But I repeat, what are you? An overgrown dwarf?" "No, I'm a boy, your majesty," said Edmund. "A son of Adam," hissed the queen, and raised her wand. Just as Edmund thought that she was going to do something dreadful, she suddenly said in quite a different voice, "My poor child, how cold you look. Come and sit with me," which obviously sounds really suspicious and awful behaviour on her part. That's me saying that, not the right. Edmund dared not disobey, so he stepped onto the sledge, and the queen wrapped her warm fur mantle around him. "Now, what would you like best to eat?" she asked. "Turkish delight, please, your majesty," said Edmund. Obviously Shane isn't bored, he's just a bit tired. The queen took out a small bottle and let one drop fall onto the snow. Instantly there appeared a box of Turkish delight. I don't know if you guys have ever had Turkish delight. I actually think it's disgusting. It's like a sort of squodgy jelly thing covered in sugary stuff, and it tastes like soup, I think, myself. But anyway, Edmund obviously loved it. So instantly there appeared a box of Turkish delight. Edmund had never tasted anything more delicious in all his life. While he was eating, the queen asked him questions. She got him to tell her that he had a brother and 2 sisters, and that one of his sisters had already been in Narnia and met a fawn. At last the Turkish delight was finished. Edmund wished he could have some more. He did not know that the Turkish delight was enchanted, so that means she'd cast a spell on it, and that anyone who had once tasted it would want more and more of it. The Queen knew quite well what Edmund was thinking, but instead of offering him any more, she said, "Son of Adam, I should so like to meet your brother and your 2 sisters. Will you bring them to see me? Because if you did come again, you could eat Turkish delight all day long. I have no children of my own, and as you are the cleverest and handsomest young man I've ever met, I think I would like to make you the Prince of Narnia." So bear in mind, this woman is really evil. Then she pointed with her wand. "You have only to look for those 2 hills rising above the trees and walk towards them to reach my house. But remember, you must bring the others." "I'll do my best," agreed Edmund. "You needn't tell them about me," said the Queen. "It would be fun to keep it a secret between us 2. Make it a surprise for them." As the sledge swept away, she called, "Don't forget, come soon." Edmund was still staring after it when he heard Lucy calling him.